when the generations behind you see you, will they see you as leverage or will they see you as the liability? They see you as leverage when you position them for events that they do not even know will take place. Let me show you how this is powerful. How many of us always say this statement? I wish I would have known this then, which means no one before you positions you to take advantage or be aware of a situation you are currently going through. And so I ask everybody that's watching this, what will be your impact for your family 50 years from now? What will they say about you? Now, I know we're going to crack jokes but like realistically, what will your family say about you 50 years from now? With legacy, we must be willing to plant the lifetime seeds now that will harvest generationally. We must be willing to plant the seeds that put us in position for prosperity. I'm talking legacy. I'm talking about having the vision and the faith that you can create something that you have not seen and leave it to a people who you have not met. We talking legacy. Legacy is about consistent sacrifice. But along the journey, we are able to indulge in some of the harvest. Legacy is created by those who are intentional, but legacy is lost by those who neglect. Legacy is created by those who are intentional, but legacy is lost by those who neglect. The biggest part of legacy that I've been watching, Jose, is not the money itself. It is about the wisdom to play the game. I want to say Proverbs 4:7 says, wisdom is a principal thing, so in all thy getting, get understanding. And the reason why for that's important for me, Jose, because you only gain wisdom through experience. You can't read a book and say, I got wisdom. You have to read the book, apply the information, see how the information that you apply reacts to your execution, and through that experience, you gain wisdom. But wisdom is the byproduct of understanding all the components that took place during the process. Right? So that's why that scripture makes sense. Wisdom is a principal thing, so in all thy getting, get understanding. Because without understanding, you cannot complete the equation to gain wisdom. So in order to actually create legacy, we must experience things that the people before us, watch this. I like it when it comes like this. Watch this. So when the generations behind you see you, will they see you as leverage or will they see you as the liability? They see you as leverage when you position them for events that they do not even know will take place. Let me show you how this is powerful. How many of us always say this statement? I wish I would have known this then, which means no one before you positioned you to take advantage or be aware of a situation you are currently going through. Because had somebody positioned you for it, you would have already been equipped with the tools to understand how to navigate this specific situation, which means the person before you wasn't actually the asset, which means they didn't give you leverage. So legacy is a byproduct of consistent leverage from the people who came before you. So in essence, legacy isn't just about money, it's about positioning future generations for events that you know are coming, but they have not seen. Think about this, Jose. Think about this for a second. Watch this. Legacy. As the Israelites leave Egypt, right? They were out there for generations. Watch this. Certain generations had navigated the desert for 10, 20, 30 years. Then there's another generation that was born in the desert. Hear me. Hear me. There's one generation that know what it was like to be in Egypt and leave, go into the desert to look for a land that was promised. They learned how to navigate the desert. Even though they were ungrateful, they learned how to navigate the desert through leadership from Moses. Why? Because Moses had already spent 40 years in the desert prior to coming get them. So he had wisdom and understanding on how to navigate a dry place. A place who he was going to bring some people with that he already had experience on how to navigate. So what happens is he was already positioned to teach them how to pivot for the promise. Okay, so hear me. So now what happens is when you're born in the desert, and then you have a generation who've already navigated the desert, the generation that knows how to navigate to the desert can equip the generation that's born in the desert how to survive. So they can position them for what? Windstorms. They can position them for what? Snakes in the desert. They can position them on when to drink water. They can position them on when to eat. The thing I want to illuminate here is, are you navigating the desert with a vision for the promise, but what are you doing to leverage the people behind you to be in position? Remember, legacy is intentional, but legacy is lost. Come on, y'all. Come on. Sacrifice. Another situation. Abraham understood the promise that was within him, that was given to him. He understood that promise. So when God asked him to sacrifice Isaac, he understood that this was part of the promise. It was necessary. The thing that happened on the way was, in the minute when he was about to execute the circumcision, because watch this, Isaac in essence was a necessary circumcision to get to the promise. So do you have faith to oblige? Do you have faith to do the necessary and then trusting that the other side is what you expect. Now watch this. Abraham was about to execute, and then God says, Abraham, look. But he was faithful in what? Being willing to sacrifice the necessary. Watch this, Jose. Some of us are so caught up into where we are, we cannot move. We cannot pivot because we are not willing to circumcise the thing that's holding us down. We're not willing to cut off the flesh of the thing, the person, the relationship, the job, the mindset that is keeping us in captivity. But here's what God told Abraham. Circumcision is necessary for you at 90, any slave you have, any newborn, or anybody, man, that comes thereafter in order for you to what? Inherit the promise. So circumcision is necessary. So Isaac, in essence, was a form of what? Circumcision. God just replaced Isaac with but he was willing at 90 to do what? Circumcise. In order to create wealth, in order to graduate that to legacy, we must be consistently willing to circumcise. And what happens is we get so attached to people, we don't want to cut them off. And now we realizing that the people we don't want to cut off is the reason why we not walking into promise. So before we go any further, Jose, tonight, I'm going to ask you, before we navigate into 2025, which is the promised land for some of us, what is our Isaac?